Alright, so in the last video we made it so that we could actually fetch our contacts. Okay, whenever the page loads now, it's going to grab them for us. Now what we want to do is we want those contacts to show below the form. Alright, so I'm going to close all these out. Alright, and all we want right now, let's open up app.js, which is our app component. And we're going to want to put the contacts right under the form. Alright, so we're going to call that contact list. Okay, now we're going to have to pass our contacts into that, so we're just going to add a property here called contacts, and we're going to pass in this.state.contacts. Alright, and then we need to make sure we include that up here. Okay, so this will be contact list. Alright, so let's create that component. Contact list.js, and I'm going to copy what we have in the form component. Okay, and then we'll just change these up. That you can get rid of the handle submit method there, and we want to change this to contact list as well. Okay, and let's take all this out and take this class off. So the list is actually going to be a table of contacts. Alright, so let's start out putting an H3 and we'll say contacts. Okay, and this is where we can start to create the table. We'll give it a class name of table and table striped. Alright, and let's give it a T head. And then in the T head, we're going to have our table row. This is going to hold all the headings. So we want THs here. We'll say name. Phone. And email. And then we're going to have one more for the buttons, one more column to have our buttons. So that's just going to be blank. Okay, so there's the head. Now we need the T body. Okay, now what we're going to do here is we're going to loop through our contacts, and then we're going to display another component called contact for each one. Alright, so the way we can do this, we can say this.props.contacts. Now remember, we passed in, let me just show you, we passed in contacts as a property. Okay, we passed in the state, but since we're doing this, it's going to be available in contact list as a property. So this.props. Alright, and then we want to call .map. Okay, and then in map, we're going to have a function. Okay, that's going to take in a couple parameters. We'll say contact and an index. And then we want to return. And this is where we can put our contact component. Alright, we're going to pass in contact, of course. And we're also going to pass in an attribute called key, and that's going to be set to the index. That's going to be a unique value. Alright, so in order to use contact, we'll have to include it up here. Oh, so that's going to be ./contact.js. Alright, and then we're going to go and create that. So in components, we're going to create a new file called contact.js. And let's just copy what we have in contact list. Okay, we can get rid of a couple things. We want this to just be contact. Same thing down here. and then let's just get rid of all this. Actually, let's make the core element a TR. Alright, so now we'll have our columns, and we're going to say this.props.contact, that's what we passed in, and we want the name value for the first one. Okay, then we're going to do the phone and the email. And we also want some buttons, so in this last column here we're going to create some links that will format as buttons. So href, we're just going to put a number sign for now, and then our class name. Oops. Okay, class name is going to be btn default. This is going to be the edit button. Alright, this is going to have an on click, and it's going to go to this dot, let's say, handle edit. Alright, so we'll say edit. Let's just see if this shows up. Alright, let's see, contact list, and then app. Let's make sure that this is saved. Let's see, let me go. Oh, we're not even, we gotta run gulp. It's still not showing up. Oh, there we go. Okay. Just took a second. So, alright, that looks really good. So our contacts are showing up. We have our edit button. Alright. So let's create the delete button. We're not going to do the functionality just yet, but I just want to get it there. So let's copy that, paste it in, and then we're going to change default to danger. We're going to change this to handle remove, and change this to remove. Okay, so you can see it takes a minute. There we go. Actually, you know what? Let's do the remove. Let's do the delete next, because we have our add functionalities there, our list functionality. So now we'll do the remove. The edit is going to be probably the most difficult, so we'll do that last. Alright, so we're going to have these going to, this one's going to go to this dot handle remove, but we also want to bind the ID to it. Alright, so the way we do that is we can just add on to this and say dot bind, and then we're going to pass in this, and then we want to pass in the ID, which we can get from this dot props dot contact dot ID. Alright, so let's go create the handle remove. Alright, so this is going to take, we're going to put in a couple parameters, I and J, and then I should give us the ID. So we're going to pass this to an action, app actions dot remove, and then we just want to pass in I. Alright, so now let's go to the actions file, and actually, what did I call it? App actions, we actually want remove contact. Okay, and then we'll create that here. Okay, and then we're going to pass in the ID is going to come here, so we'll call that contact ID. And let's just do a console.log and make sure that this is working so far. We'll pass it. We'll log the ID. Okay, so let's see, remove, and you can see we get the ID. If I click that one, it gives us that ID. So that's good so far. Now what we want to do, I'm just going to copy this and paste that in, and we're going to change this to remove contact, singular, and this is going to be contact ID and contact ID. Alright, so let's add the constant. Save that. Okay, now to the App Store. Okay, so let's grab this case. Okay, this is going to be remove. We'll change this message to removing contact. Now, just like with adding contacts, we're going to have the store function as well as the API. So first we'll do the store. So this will be store remove, and we're going to set this to app store dot remove contact, and we want to pass in action dot contact ID. So let's take care of that. We'll go up here and we're going to go put in remove contact function. Okay, and that's going to take the contact ID. Alright, so working with a store is, we're basically just working with an array in JavaScript. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to get the index. And there's a few different ways you can do this. But what I'm going to do is say contacts, and we're going to use find index. And then we're going to pass in a couple things here. X to XID equal to contact ID. Alright, and then what we'll do is just splice. So we'll say contacts.splice, pass in the index, and we want 1. Alright, so let's see if that works. It's not going to be persistent, but okay, so let me try reloading again. There we go. Alright, so it removes, but if I reload, they're still there. Okay, so we're removing it from the store in that current session, but it's not being persisted to Firebase, so that's what we need to do now. Alright, so back down here in our action handler, we're going to do the API remove. Okay, so we'll say app API, is that right? App API? Yeah. App API dot remove contact, and we're going to pass the same thing in. Alright, so now we'll go over to our API file. We'll say remove contact. Oops. Okay, that's going to take in contact ID, and we're going to grab this Firebase thing here. Okay, now what we want to do is we just want to add on to the end of this the contact ID. So we'll just concatenate that on like that. Alright, and then it's as simple as calling the remove function. So we want this dot remove. Alright, and that should do it. So let's go back. reload a couple times. It's funny because I don't have to do this when I'm in development on my regular machine. It's just in this virtual machine. I don't know what's going on. But let's just hit remove, and now hopefully, no, it's still there. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, so it's not persisting. Let's see, remove contact. Let's make sure we're actually getting the contact ID. Because that looks... Oh, wait a minute. We need a slash here. That's probably it. So I'm going to get rid of that. Alright, so let's go ahead and delete Mike and reload, and he's gone. Okay, you can see in Firebase he's gone as well. Alright, good. So our deletion is persisting. So we can add contacts, we can see them, we can remove them. In the next video, we'll go ahead and work on editing and updating them. Alright, so I'll see you.